Greetings and salutations. So I just learned about this in the last day, and ever since the revelation came to light within me, this is all I can think about. Now, I don't have time necessarily right now to sit down and make this whole conspiracy theory of everything, JFK files, but gosh, I would like to. So in short of that, or in light of not being able to do that, here's this. Let me first start with a couple of disclaimers. First, I might be wrong about absolutely everything that I'm about to say. I'm not here trying to point fingers or to assert that this is absolutely, definitively the truth, but I'm coming forward with this asking questions, pointing out things, and asking for us collectively to ask more questions and to insist upon the truth and to allow the truth to come forth, even if that's deeply disturbing, because the truth will set us free, and we've been under illusion for far too long. So, how this all began. I recently watched the new video by JP Sears on his We Lie to You news series about the reveal of the JFK assassination, or the files being released. And the way that the video started was this.
At this time, you see the driver turn around with a pistol in his left hand, firing over his right shoulder, and shoots the president directly in the head.
That's irrelevant footage.
Okay, so all we have in this really to go on is the audio, because this video is so blurred to shit. There's no way, this is playing right now. We're not going to be able to tell anything, although there is that interesting flash that goes on right here, although that could be the window, like a light reflection in the window. We don't want to make any assumptions, but we want to dig a little bit deeper. So when I heard this, it planted the seed, and I was like, wait, hold on. Go to the footage. Go to the one that everyone has seen, and let's take a look. I'm here inside of DaVinci Resolve. Can I make this bigger? Please? How do we do? There we go. Warning. This video will contain graphic footage of a man being shot in the head. Viewer discretion is advised. Now, the first thing that I noticed was actually the illusion. There's an illusion within the illusion within the story that we're unpacking here. And this is really interesting because when I first saw this, my mind was blown because I thought I saw something that actually wasn't there. But then underneath that, I think there actually is something there. But check this out. First, this is right when he gets shot here. If you're watching this corner and we're just gonna focus on this little section for just a moment, okay? Looks like, not is, looks like the driver literally turns around and goes with a gun. The way that this reflection is, you can see that this white area and then this here kind of looks like a hand and a gun. It just fits it perfectly. That's the light reflecting off the guy's hat. But it lines up perfectly, where if you're just watching it and looking for that, you're looking for that, watch this. Pop. He's boom. It actually lines up deliciously. And I was like, this is everything. This changes the game. This is the proof in the pudding. And I was all excited to make a video about it. And then I sat down and I started going through it frame by frame just to make sure, because I'm like, I definitely don't want to just announce and declare something without proving for myself that it's right. There's another guy in the car, and you can see him, and if you're watching with continuity, you can just see the way that the light is reflecting off of him. Okay, so I was about case closed on this. After reviewing this extensively, I went, you know what? There's definitely some stuff about this, but I don't have to make a video about it. It's not a smoking bullet. It's still smoking bullet, smoking gun. It's still vague enough that it's just speculation. But I mentioned it to my friend, and my friend, he started doing some digging as well, and he was watching the content that I shared, and he was watching this video and looking at the frames and going frame by frame, and he was like, isn't it interesting that the driver looks back twice? Just before JFK gets shot. And I was like, I didn't notice that. Show me again. And we went back and I'm watching this frame by frame. And look, driver looks back once, twice. It's very subtle. You can make out enough of the blurry ass pixels to see that the driver is looking back. He's actually doing this 2 times. And the last one coincides with JFK getting shot in the head. And I mean, okay, you know, let me play the video that my friend Daryl, so this is Daryl, he's a wonderful dude. He sent me this. Just have a listen.
Yeah, dude, look. His head goes back. So it could be at the side, but you know, the news has been saying that he got shot from behind, which is it's kind of impossible. Once you get shot, your head should be going forward rather than to the side or the back. Yeah, man, it's crazy.
So this then is evidence number 2. Not only does the driver go twice, it's subtle, but then, yeah, all of the conversation about him getting shot from the grassy knoll or whatever is that he got, it's the magic bullet theory, right? It's like he got shot from behind and then there was like 6 bullet injuries and not enough bullets and the bullet went through multiple people.
Single bullet caused 6 wounds while staying intact. But many argue that the bullet's trajectory is impossible. The angles just don't add up.
But if he got shot from behind, why is his head going poof? That makes no sense. So the question then becomes, like, could the driver actually be the killer? And if so, what the hell? And this brings us to the other information that was released in the CIA classified documents that Trump just released. And now, to go over this, I want to just watch with you the JFK video that JP Sears put out. Now, just as a frame of reference, JP Sears is a comedian. He's revealing good information, but like this is also intended to be a little tongue-in-cheek comedy. So, you know, take it both with a grain of salt, but like look at what he's presenting with a seriousness too.
Good evening and welcome to We Lie to You News. After 62 years, the JFK files have been released by President Trump. Over 80,000 pages of very easy reading, to be exact. Starting with the bombshell, the now declassified files revealed there was a CIA consultant named Gary Underhill. The documents state that the day after the assassination, Underhill showed up at the home of friends. Very agitated. And he told his friends a small clique within the CIA was responsible for the assassination. He also told his friends that he was afraid for his life. Underhill's friends say he was sober and report that he told them that the CIA clique that murdered the president did so because they were carrying on a lucrative racket in gun running, narcotics, and other contraband. 6 months later, he was found dead in his apartment, shot to death. Very surprisingly, it was ruled a suicide.
Okay, so I think that is probably the first and biggest indictment of the entire thing that would point to it being an inside job, like that information. Seeing the documentation here and like even just giving it a little bit of a read. Yeah, okay, hold on a sec, let's read this. The day after the assassination, Gary Underhill left Washington in a hurry. Late in the evening, he showed up at the home of friends in New Jersey. He was very agitated. A small clique within the CIA was responsible for the assassination, he confided, and he was afraid for his life and probably would have to leave the country. Less than 6 months later, Underhill was found shot to death in his Washington apartment. The coroner ruled it suicide. J. Garrett Underhill has been an intelligence agent during World War II and was a recognized authority on limited warfare and small arms. A researcher and writer on the military affairs, he was on a first-name basis with many of the top brass in the Pentagon. He was also on intimate terms with a number of high-ranking CIA officials. He was one of the agency's unpeople who performed special assignments. Unpeople? Okay. At one time, he has been a friend of Samuel Cummings of the something, that's a word, and the arms broker that numbers among its customers the CIA and, ironically, Klein's Sporting Goods of Chicago, from whence the mail order Carcano allegedly was purchased by Oswald. So there's like so many threads in between that, like connecting everything together. But the bottom line is, I mean, can we trust that? Sounds legit, especially given that he was murdered afterwards exactly as he prophesied, and again, like deemed suicide, kind of like Epstein. Okay, what else?
Next, we've learned that definitely lone gunman Lee Harvey Oswald was being closely tracked by the CIA for at least 59 days prior to the assassination. We also now learn that Jack Ruby, who killed Oswald once he was in police custody, had met with Oswald at a nightclub weeks before JFK was assassinated, according to a CIA memo. Does this prove the CIA is guilty? No. It just proves that the CIA didn't want you to know this for some reason, because they've kept it classified for 62 years.
So this whole thing maybe is not very relevant, but it was just funny to me. Like a couple weeks ago, or a month and a half ago now, February 12th, I remember seeing this on the news. It was like 2,400 new JFK assassination records have been found. Here it says, the FBI on Tuesday said it discovered 2,400 new records related to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. That just absolutely made me laugh, because it's like, what do you mean discovered? They're in your filing cabinet. What do you mean discovered? Like, no, I understand there's like a time delay. So probably what happened was that all of these files were kept in some bunker somewhere, and then, you know, 4 generations go by, and then new people in office or in the FBI discovered this satchel of thingies. But like, it's just ironic and funny, and I'm kind of like, yeah, it'd be like me going into my file. I've discovered my accounting files from 5 years ago. I'm like, no, I put them there. You put them there.
Learned that authorities were alerted in advance of Oswald being killed by Jack Ruby. If you put your thinking caps on for a moment, that either means that Jack Ruby alerted authorities himself, or it means that the FBI and CIA, who didn't investigate any ties to people that would be using Jack Ruby to silence Oswald, should have investigated further, but didn't for some reason. We also learned that a British newspaper received a tip that Kennedy would be killed 25 minutes before Kennedy was killed. And consider that the CIA's official report is that Oswald was a lone gunman. Period. So that means it must have been Oswald himself who contacted the British newspaper. Or it means that other people were in on it too, and the CIA's official report is wrong. The Kennedy files also have some rather intriguing mentions of Israel. And they also have the CIA with intriguing mentions to specifically not mention Israel, through stamped requests to specifically redact mentions of Israel. We also learned that Israeli intelligence was feeding CIA operatives intelligence. We also learned of a report where an arms dealer named Achirviria made a comment the day before the assassination. We now have plenty of money. Our new backers are Jews. As soon as we or they take care of Kennedy. End quote. So what does this new information being exposed prove? Well, it proves that the CIA didn't want you to know any of this for 62 years. They still don't want you to know, but no.
Okay, so all of this, there's 2 pieces here. One is that leading up to JFK's death, there was a lot of information known about him dying. Like, weeks in advance, tracking Harvey Oswald and the guy who then took him out, and then watching and like, there's a lot of moving pieces in the shadows leading up to this that the CIA was very, very aware of, and maybe, according to the first guy, they were doing it. This is shocking, alarming. More information needs to be shared. Who is the secret clique? why did they do it? And then the other point is Israel. Now, this is very interesting. Whenever I look up online, everywhere I look, it describes that the connection to Israel, there's like none. Or that it's inconclusive and inconsequential in the grand scheme of things. The thing is like, you can't condemn an entire country and an entire people for the actions of like one or two individuals, you know? Like even how from the very beginning over here, we were seeing it's like a small clique within the CIA was responsible. So you can't even condemn the entire CIA. So in the same way, like if there is a connection to Israel legitimately, and we're going to read this document in a second, then it might not be, it's definitely not fair to say like it's Israel, the all of them, but like who within the government, within the, you know, what was going on behind the scenes between who was shaking hands with who. That's where you got to be more specific, because otherwise you just get into this pattern of like hating people for the sake of hating people. And we've seen way too much of that in the world right now. Like, I mean, with the whole Israel, Palestine, everything, like there were so many people hating on both sides of each other. And it's like, you know, everybody's made mistakes, but like we can't condemn an entire population for the actions of one person within that collective, you know? Anyway, what this document says is, in such instances where the information relates to Israel, there's a word there cut off, it has been the practice of Israelis' supervisors to clear with Angleton before disseminating information from him, something probably to the Bureau or something like that. So like there's not really anything indicting of Israel in that, other than it says, if Israel is mentioned, please redact it. Okay. Inconclusive.
We also learned of a report where an arms dealer
Can I read that one?
named Achirvaria made a comment the day before the assassination. We now have plenty of money. Our new backers are Jews. As soon as we or they take care of Kennedy.
Okay, so that's the smoking gun. A smoking gun for sure. But like, again, we just have to be really clear not to indict a people for the actions of a few. Every country has people that are bad. Every country has deep, evil, dark powers puppeting the strings somewhere behind the curtain. So whoever, you know, the new backers are Jews. It's not like all of, Israel is to blame. But still, I mean, for the information of all offices concerned, 21265 advised on November 26, 1963, that he had heard of one word Mosley allegedly had been attempting to negotiate a sale of machine guns to one Homer, I believe, Eshevaris, and that the Eshevari allegedly made a comment the day before the assassination of President John F. Kennedy that we now have plenty of money, our new backers are Jews, as soon as we or they take care of Kennedy. I mean...
End quote. So what does this new information being exposed prove? Well, it proves that the CIA didn't want you to know any of this for 62 years. They still don't want you to know, but now you do. Also earning an honorable mention from the Kennedy files, in 1994, Joe Biden was called a traitor. That one withstands the test of time.
Okay, wait, hold on. Let's see this. This is funny. Bearing handwritten printers of Senator Joe Biden, developed postmark, accompanying handwritten, hand-printed letter, date, beginning, Dear Senator Biden, you are a traitor, and bearing the signature, John F. Kennedy Jr. When was this? Shots fired. Oh, that's too soon. Is it too soon? Is it 70 years later or something like that? 60 years later? Well, either way. What do we make of this? Anyone? Comments? Leave them down below.
These are the highlights of what we've learned so far from the JFK files being released. Now, here are the questions we still don't have answers to. Who actually pulled the trigger? Was it Oswald? Or is Hillary Clinton forensics to be applied here, where we also rule JFK's death a suicide? Also, no explanation for the magic bullet from the lone gunman.
Okay, this is interesting.
Here's how we're told that works.
A single bullet caused 6 wounds while staying intact. But many argue that the bullet's trajectory is impossible. The angles just don't add up.
A bullet that defies the laws of physics causes 6 different wounds, doesn't even show the damage of a single wound, and is found on a hospital gurney after someone put it there. Is still the official narrative. That's it for tonight's special report on the release of the JFK files. Stay tuned for more breaking news that we've yet.
All right. Thank you, JP. That was great. Okay, yeah, the magic bullet thing we've already kind of talked about, and the direction that his head goes, it just doesn't add up. So bottom line, look, I think that we're at the beginning of an apocalypse, and it should be known that apocalypse literally or etymologically means a lifting of the veil. It is the great revelation, the revealing of truth. And as we all know, as a great master Yeshua once said, the truth will set you free. The challenge is that we have been so in illusion for so long that even these kind of truths, as they come up, they have the capacity to rapidly destabilize everything that we think we know about who we are and our place in the world and how the world is run and who's running the world. And as that comes up, it has the capacity to cause pandemonium. So my recommendation for anyone watching is this. Go within, practice meditation, deep breathing, and prayer. Cleanse yourself on the inside and find the light of your soul. If you can do this and become unmoved in the grace of God, because God is like light, moving so fast that it appears solid. If you can be moving at the speed of light within the vibration of your soul and live from that stable place, then when all the pandemonium and the chaos erupts and arises as new truths set course to change what we think we know of in the world today, you'll be able to be at peace as humanity weathers the storm of transformation. The revelation is upon us, whether it happens this year, 5 years from now, 20 years from now. It's just a matter of time as more and more truth, real, authentic truth, comes forth that bridges and unifies all world traditions, sciences and spiritualities, and the conspiracies and the cover-ups that have so long plagued this world and kept us in the dark. Are you ready?